with everything that's going on, price of gas, availability and supply of natural gas, both for power generation and for downstream industries, as well as environmental concerns with regards to our use of fossil fuels and being a player in the petrochemical industry while the world is looking to transition. Of course, that transition, it got, for lack of a better word, it got derailed a bit by COVID. But just yesterday, G7 countries, they are now looking to push forward again their environmental agenda, which is in sharp contrast to some of the things that Karen was saying last week on the refocus of oil by some jurisdictions. It could be that we could see energy becoming a major player in international politics. But in local politics, well, we're kind of stuck in the middle of all of that because we want to sell to a lot of these people. So at the sword turning ceremony of our new solar park, we had a bit of an explanation, if you read between the lines, as to the motivations, the multiple different motivations behind the solar park, as well as potentially signs of long-term thinking beyond just what could get me elected in the next election. Well, I don't know if it's such a good thing just yet. Take a look at Cue This.
Besides the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, the solar power plants will reduce Trinidad and Tobago's demand for natural gas in the power generation sector, thus allowing for the sale of this gas on the LNG and petrochemical markets, resulting in the generation of additional revenues and scarce foreign exchange earnings from increased natural gas sales from higher valued natural gas derivatives. This is not only the only initiative, that will reduce demand for our natural gas resources for energy generation. TNTech is currently constructing a 220 kilovolt double circuit tower line from Union Estate substation to Gandhi Village substation, which is due to be commissioned next week. The increased transmission capacity from Union Estate substation will allow for dispatch of the full capacity of TGU power station of 720 megawatts. This increased generation capacity of 120 megawatts from TGU translates in many parts to an increase in generation capacity via the heat recovery steam generators, which utilizes waste heat from the gas turbines to generate an additional 70 megawatts of electricity, which will redound a significant gas savings of approximately $80 million TT annually.
The Russia-Ukraine war last year, that affected this project directly, as we saw the price of the materials, the shipping, the steel, the solar panels increase on us overnight. We will be utilizing more renewables in our grid as we go forward. What we intend to do on the policy that will be driven by the Ministry of Energy as the ministry that is in charge of generating electricity is to see how much reduction in gas we can get, both from the use of renewables, but also, I'm pleased to say that I hope in the not too distant future, we'll be able to announce to the country the upgrade of some of our plant and machinery to combined cycle turbines, which will also redound in a reduction of the use of natural gas, which can then go on into more revenue producing commodities. We are also working very hard and hopefully very soon would be able to announce our first green hydrogen project, which, as you know, will be based on an input of renewables at the start into the electrolyzer to then get green ammonia at the output.
We are a country that desperately needs every molecule of gas that we can get our hands on, not to burn in our country, but to sell in the international market. There's a great market for LNG, and there's an even better market for petrochemical products. And like we said with oil and gas, we want to be there selling petrochemicals and selling LNG as long as there's an international market for it. Problem is, we don't have all the gas we'd like to have. It's not only about complying with our requirements in the international effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but also to minimize the amount of gas we burn at home. Because if we don't show the world that we are making efforts to reduce our greenhouse, and that the hydrogen that we're going to use, or the power that we generated, is what we call green power, meaning that you are generating it but not increasing your carbon output. If we're not going to show the world that, what we are facing would be markets that will say to us, the products that you produce are not saleable in this market. And if we save 40 scuffs of gas, 40 million scuffs of gas, that is like a small gas field that we've discovered. So every time we reduce our consumption for power on that scale, is like if we found a small gas field somewhere onshore or offshore. Because if we fail on the hydrocarbon side, I guarantee you, we will fail in virtually every other areas of Trinidad and Tobago's economy, because we are so heavily dependent on the flow of success from the hydrocarbon sector into the other sectors, whether it is manufacturing, whether it's agriculture.
Apologies for the choppy video there and audio of the Prime Minister. That was the source footage available. That's not with regards to our edit. I believe it was internet issues that caused that plagued his contribution more so than the other speakers at the ceremony. Now, some implication of what was said, the government is looking at ways to minimize natural gas usage domestically for energy generation so that it could either be sold or, even better, used in the petrochemical industry for a more valuable commodity. But this is the sword-turning ceremony, so this is not like going to happen overnight. To me, the one good thing out of this, well, the one bad thing is the Prime Minister just said it there, you know, they're all in on petrochemicals, oil and gas. It doesn't seem like they are that interested in any other industry or diversification. The one good thing is this is something that is technically long view thinking. It's not just short term, I do this to win an election, and it's some kind of short term project that is a lot of variable cost intensive, not a lot of capital investment that pays any dividends in the future. My issue is, well, we're going to spend the money that we were going to save to get the solar park. So then I'm not too sure how much money we actually, because foreign exchange has to go to buy the stuff for these solar parks and all of these other projects. So I'm not entirely sure to what extent, you know, I don't know if the math's math. They could, I'm just not sure.
That's a math's not maths thing.
I mean, you know, gift that keeps on giving.
There's also been a failure to address, because I saw the Minister of Energy and Energy Industry, Stuart Young, stating that the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukrainian war also affected this project. That does not actually speak to me about why costs went up to over $1 billion for this particular project. Furthermore, the cost of electricity to come out from this project was also increased due to that $1 billion over that $1 billion.
Well, I think the $1 billion is what's factored in the overheads.
The thing is that with respect to natural gas, we need every ounce of natural gas for the market outside. To what extent is this supply? Because I think the Prime Minister said this is going to contribute greatly to our grid, right?
That's the other thing, yes.
Exactly to what extent is it going to contribute to our grid? So as much as I say it's a sword-turning ceremony, it's the start in the right direction. Best of luck. I look to see about the end results. It's between now and when this is completed, what you're doing to facilitate such a transition, and if more projects are going to come on stream. That is the key part, because erasing our emissions, especially being a small island developing state, and the issues of climate change and its impact upon Trinidad, I'm surprised that we still haven't looked at diversification sooner. But then again, we're in 2023, and not much really surprises me anymore.
Agriculture might be difficult with climate change, although I just like to point out that it's not as though Trinidad and Tobago are falling into the sea rapidly. I'll just say that. More importantly, I think the real key is not so much the savings. That might be what they're trying to sell it on the money-wise. But I think politically, the most important thing is Trinidad needs to be seen as someone who is willing to go through the process of being green or risk being on the outs of whatever the international markets might be. Because as much as we are still going to rely on the petrochemical industry, the natural gas buyers, a lot of them are going to be the countries that are trying to use natural gas to transition. That's still the plan, right? Even with everything going on. So, you know.
So would it have been more prudent to look at wind energy rather than solar energy?
Exactly, right? Because, again, I want to find out, well, how is this going to save us natural gas after 7 p.m.? Or after 6:30? When the sun goes down, it's automatically shut off, right?
It doesn't necessarily work like that, but the issue as well is yes, there will always be natural gas consumption. You yourself just pointed out it's not going to happen right away. As I said, the issue is even when the sun goes down, part of this project, and we need more information and more explanation, is about our energy storage capacities.
The technical aspect that I'm unaware of yet, because I haven't looked into it for a good couple of years, is where battery technology is. We could make other small efficiency changes with the power grid, and I think they will pay for themselves very quickly, like what the Minister of Public Utilities was talking about with the 80 million annually. But notice that the amount gained with regards to natural gas savings won't be that much. Mm-hmm. But with regards to like a solar park or even wind, a lot of it is going to depend on battery technology so that it will be potentially be able to be consistently released as opposed to just having this big solar grid
stored and released,
when it's sunny, right? And then when it's not sunny, we have to scramble, otherwise we're going to have power outages across, a sixth of the country?
Just to let you know that this level of technology is the direction the entire world is going in. But it's not cheap.
And it's not finished. And
you remember there are a lot of shortages worldwide right now, especially in building batteries.
That's the other thing.
Right?
I think they're looking at Tobago as well as other parts in Trinidad. They're also looking to add wind, but to add more solar. They think solar in lowlands Tobago might be very successful. And in truth, it can. Battery technology, I don't think, they didn't speak much about it, and it was hard because it was chopped up by the poor internet. The Prime Minister did mention it, but I don't know to what extent he did.
Wind in lowlands might also be something to look at as well.
Wind off of plantations.
Let's just hope that our engineering.
You think Magdalena Value would resist the shock of having a whole set of offshore wind turbines tainting the view?
No, it actually might upgrade it over the sargassum and the sea blast ridden hotel that is Magdalena.